This is the Grassroots Education and Entertainment Network, your number one source of information, education, and entertainment. For honest, responsible, and dependable information, we stand supreme. To stay focused, inspired, and relaxed, choose green.
Ekabo and welcome to the Ifa Orisa Community Discussion Program, and introducing our host for today, Baba Iwa Liwa, for this first episode on the Julian calendar year.
Julian calendar. Well, we are saying welcome to season number 2. Welcome to all that people who would have enjoyed our last sessions and seeking more information as we open our minds to this this new age and this new calendar. This in moving forward, Ifa Orisa, we would like the Ifa Orisa Community Congress, Point 14, and the general public would like to give condolences to the family of Professor Idowu Odeyemi. Well, we always know Professor Odeyemi, all the big name, but he was one of the founding earlier president of the International Council for Religion, and a good promoter of the Ifa Orisa tradition around the world. And think, because I always refer to the 8 essence of Ifa, which he would identify in his early incarnation as president. So that's why I understand people. It's not just about the religious and the sacrificial, but we always have to remember the 8 essence of Ifa: the spiritual essence, the religious essence, the divine essence, the worship and sacrificial essence, medicinal essence, historical essence, scientific essence, and the cultural essence. And I just believe that, let us embrace the culture of Ifa Orisa tradition. This is how it will be a way of life for us. And also, again, welcome to this new year of 2022, this second season. And I hope that we can really expand ourselves as a better, solid, stronger community.
Ashe, Baba, your mic making a whole lot of noise. I don't know what is causing that. If it's hitting all your LKs on your neck, I know what is going on.
Maybe, because I'm using the headphone.
What I would suggest, use one side of your headphones, the side that supports the microphone, and let the other one hang free.
Yeah. All right. Better there now?
Much better, Baba.
All right. One of the things we want to expound on in terms of this age which we are entered into, the Aquarian age. Also, it is the Age of Ascension, the period of ascension within the ancient calendars of the ancients. A lot of people has not really comprehended or understood the idea or what ascension means in our aspect of the tradition. All right. So at least want to go into understand ascension in terms of that awakening with our third eye being aware, open and aware of things that are happening around us, and that we could basically see the things that are before us to understand our spirituality beyond the religious practices that we would have practiced long before with faith belief. All right. In reflecting on coming today's session, there was the Odu that was revealed for the banquet, the winter solstice, and the banquet coming into this year of Ascension, because that was the title of the banquet. Babaji taking us into the 5th dimension, preparing us for the ascension. And the Odu would have read what Iwori Odi, or we say Iworidi, and they speak of blessings and things that is to come, which Orimila seek blessings and bountifulness. And they say he should do his ebo in 2s, offer everything in 2. A goat, male goat, a female goat, a ram, and a cock and a hen. So he said all the ebo should be done in 2s. And he said once the offer is done, Orimila say he will bring heaven to earth, and he'll take earth and place it into heaven. Now, if we were to take that message, in the sense that is it that you're going to place us in some, but it actually mean that level of ascension, because ascension really mean where we walk at our higher level of consciousness. So the heaven we are looking for in our belief system, actually we'll be living that in our life by being aware. Not everybody basically could understand it, but it will be an awakening for those who are tuned, who is attuned, and who is connected to their higher consciousness, who is awakened within their spirituality. All right. One I think we would have been speaking about long before would have been the fifth dimension, because all of that is also we're talking about where we'll be connected with the universe. Our reception of messages and dreams will be so precise, so connected, that there's no second guessing as well. I dreamt a dream, and what does it mean? All right. The clarity is supposed to be that I have some of my members, I tell them, start to do their dream ritual, have the dream book under their bed, under your pillow. As you wake up, write down what is your dream and start to look at the signs. So it come like you now begin to have your dictionary of dreams. So when you see you wake up, you could identify, okay, I wake up with a little sluggish. You know that every time I wake up, there's some quarreling. Or you wake up with excitement where there's some family or some faraway friend will communicate with you. So you start to have your own signs. So when you get your dream, you don't have to second guess and ask somebody to interpret, but you have your own interpretation, because the universe will be communicating directly to people at a stronger level than it used to be. All right? I never thought a little.
All right, Baba. Baba,
Uh-huh.
we have your guest, and we're going to put her on now.
Okay, no problem.
All right, we have a guest today, and the guest name is Helen Pickett.
Yeah.
And I would allow you, Baba, to introduce the guest.
All right. All right. So, ladies, brothers and sisters, well, I want to introduce a sister, not from another faith, but a sister from the same womb or the same gate of heaven that I came through, who walked the road before me, but I was the one to find the consciousness and had to pull her in, because, in terms of sometimes we all born for a purpose. And at some time, we just had to come to awakening that somebody will make that first step towards the purpose, and not knowing, hey, I really was to pull her, but she was to pull me. But sometimes the condition and environment, I was the one who made the sacrifice. As they say, Eji Ogbe was the last child, but Eji Ogbe opened the way for Ofomeji, which was the senior. All right, so this is my senior sister, Helen Pickett. All right, you're seeing goddess, member of the Circle of Goddesses.
Yes.
Promoter, a writer, a promoter of how is it, mental and healthy living lifestyles.
Lifestyles, goddess living lifestyles.
All right. So I want to welcome you again to our program, because something you always talk about, we have to share the experiences. All right. So sometimes somebody think that as be boasting about myself, I have somebody to back me up. So I say we had bloodline of emperors and we have bloodline of kings and queens. I have somebody to back me up to give the experience, the clarity. Because I always tell everybody I train, your first church to train for is your own home, your own family. If you cannot bring your own family into your tradition, then you're only fooling people. So I'd like to welcome you, and I know if you want to give a little words of, self-intro as to what have you here.
Hello from South Carolina in the USA. I am pleased and very happy to be here. It's been years that my brother and we always have conversations on the side. And we always talk deep, and it's been going on for a long time. And I say, these are great conversations, and we should share it with other people. Because you have always been helping me, and I've always been speaking to you, but we never connected that our life path. We were like apart, but we were coming together. So today we are here together.
Yeah.
I have been on a spiritual journey for a long time. com- different from my brother. He chose a religion and a practice, and he stood by that indoctrination and that practice for his life. So he's very astute and very proficient in his practice. My choice was I was the venturer, I was the gypsy. I stepped into every religion, every practice, until I found the one that really feel that was meant for me. That's me. And I never wanted to be in a box. Never. I was always called a rebel. I don't believe in being trapped and being set in a space that this is the practice, this is where you grow up, this is who you're going to be, and this. So I always knew life was a game, and I wanted to know how to play the game to win the game. So I didn't follow that. Oh, this one is evil, this one is good. Follow this one, don't follow that one. I follow my spirit. And I ask question. When I go to Thailand, I ask the Buddhist. He blessed me. He anointed my head. I got on my knees and I asked them for my wishes. When I go to the shaman, I allowed him to bless me in his culture, and so on. So I kind of took on. I probably say you need to be saved as well. I've been baptized so many times. How much more savings do I need to be saved? You know what I mean? Even you have baptized me. You probably don't even remember. You have baptized me also in the ocean.
Yes, I remember.
In Trinidad.
I was playing the ass.
You're playing the ass, but you did what you thought you
did what I had
you were
was to
learning.
do. Yeah.
We were all learning at the time, but you baptized me.
Now, one of the things, as you told about baptism, I don't know if you want to share today's experience, but in terms of your self-initiation, because this is the thing I was trying to tell people. The only true initiation, or only true change, remember I said the other day, is when you make the change. When you do your initiation, because if somebody tell you something to make a change, a person will really only be following instructions. So when the time come and you realize, oh, why you behaving that way? Why you change? No, they didn't change. They were just following direction because they never made that personal change within itself. They never made a self-initiation in which to really elevate their personal self to that which they seeking to become. So you see yet a lot of people be church, but so I don't know if you want to share that experience.
I want to share first the word change is not the word to use. Transformation. When you start riding a bike and you get on a bike and you fall and when you finally get that balance and you start riding, you never forget, right? Was that a change? Or that was an insight that something clicked in your head. And you transform and you became a biker and you start to ride that bike. And they say once you get that balance, you never lose it. Isn't that true?
True.
But the time that it took to struggle to get that balance, people say that's a change, but it's not a change. It's the struggle.
You're going through your struggle, the transformation.
You're going through your struggle. So my life to get here, I've been through my struggles. I've been through my distractions. See, the distractions is really get back on your path. Get up. You fall, get back up. You fall, get back up. And as you keep getting back up, you begin to transform and you get the insight and it click inside here. Oh, this is what it's supposed to be. And you never go back. Like I used to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, right? Back in the days. And everybody stopped smoking. It's going to kill you. Stop smoking. That I wouldn't stop smoking. No matter how much commercials they show on TV about this is your brains. Remember that commercial with the egg? This is your brains.
Yeah.
And the lady with the hole in her throat. And but that wasn't enough to convince me to stop smoking. What convinced me to stop smoking? When I sat on the bed one night and said, this really don't smell good. It don't taste good. God, I promise you today, I will not put this cigarette in my mouth ever again. And if I do, I give you permission to strike me down. I will not smoke again. This is a promise to you. And I put that cigarette down and I never smoke again. Cold turkey. And I put the fear of God in me that he could strike me down, and I gave him permission to strike me down if I ever did. So I wasn't messing with God.
Yeah. So it
And
come
going to
like
test
a
him. I wasn't
self-affirmation.
testing him after that.
But it come like you made a self-affirmation.
Yes.
But you also put the safeguards to also make sure that you follow with the affirmation that you have made.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I got the insight. Because after that, and I realized it's my body the reason I was smoking because I needed something.
You needed something.
My body needed something. And I started by taking vitamins and started testing myself and started realizing, oh, this is how I dealt with stress. I made cigarette my God. Every time I felt a little stress, I put a cigarette in my mouth. Was I worshiping the cigarette? Was cigarette my reliever? Was cigarette my God? Because you said, God help me. So how God help me? Put a cigarette in my mouth.
You brought it to
So
awareness.
you understand the concept. So now instead of putting the cigarette in my mouth, I go to the God, which is in me. I point up because religion teaches us to look up, but basically I was supposed to be looking.
Well, I would say, when you point out, say we higher self.
My higher self.
The I am.
My higher
am.
self, which is all around me. Yes.
Yeah, the I
my
am that
higher
I am.
self said, you don't need that crutch when I'm here for you. Trust me. And I took that trust and that faith, and it's been over 20-something years.
No, and this, because a lot of people don't, they don't take cognizance of the life story. You know, they go through the experiences, but they don't see that spiritual essence of it. You know, when they read about this prophet and this Messiah and this one and that man of God, they'll read it with so much, give so much sacredness and holiness. And also our life experience has also that essence of spirituality. This is why I say, how do we live in this age of ascension, or how do we find ourselves to experience the ascension? You know?
For me, and this is what I believe. So I know there's a lot of people, a lot of Christians who will say I am wrong.
Let us stop here. We need age of knowing. Say what you know. Nobody have to agree with what you know, because that is your truth. That is your reality.
So my truth is, the Bible didn't end with Moses and Paul and everybody, and it didn't begin with them. They are family, their family history, their family lineage. I have my family lineage, and my divine lineage. And I have me, and I am a character in my Bible of life. I cannot live under someone else's lineage and someone else's Bible and say it's me, and then forsake everybody around me. Forsake, because that's what they do. Forsake your children, forsake everybody, and call the name of someone else when I can call my name in the name of Helen. And I can praise Helen, and I could, anoint Helen. And Helen tribe, Helen descendants, and Helen ancestors, because we don't call the name of our own ancestors, and half of us don't even know the name of our ancestors, because we're worshiping someone else's ancestor. They have honored their ancestors. Abraham and his seed have honored their ancestors, and they know from the name, from he begot who? Who begot us? Who begot my grandparents? Who begot my great-grandparents? And that's why we are lost. That's why I think us people are lost, because we worshiping other people's family, our people ancestors, and not our own. I say love others, but how could I love my neighbor if I cannot even love myself, and I don't even know myself?
Like as you're speaking about your ancestors, there's a phrase we like to use in our traditional community. We stand on the shoulders of our ancestors.
Yes.
And I like to take that phrase and to say, when we say we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, that means we're supposed to be walking on their pathway.
But half of us don't even know. Ancestors.
Well, there's
We
no
don't know who our ancestors are to even
exactly.
walk in their pathway and to continue the journey.
Mm. And now, and this is why the spirituality, the connections with the divine essence, the oracles, well, could point you. Okay, I always had the something about me. I cannot. I will communicate with the layman, but there's always a familiarity or friendship with the seniors, the persons of office. So there was something. So when we query, and we check family line, they say, "Oh well, you belong to this family of royal people," and so I understand. And even the connection will say because blood connects with blood.
Yes.
So when in terms of venerating our ancestors, one of the main things is to find your ancestral link and emulate that quality, emulate that standard of life. You don't have to just carry the name, but you say you stand on the shoulders, that means they are carrying you. So if they are carrying you to royalty, but you want to be a Zessa or a Sasa, you want to be a dancehall king, but he wants you to be something greater. You'll be burdening on let's say the load of your ancestors because you're not even going to where. But I'm proud of I from a proud ancestry. But how are you really connecting that spirituality? Because remember what you're saying, you grew up with our great grandmother Mamaila.
Yes.
And you saw the things and you didn't understand it, but now today you know understanding that connections with those elders and what they were doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
But, mm,
I will have to say, from my knowing, that when I didn't know,
mm,
it's in my blood, I did.
mm,
What I mean is, I didn't know. We are ignorant as children. We don't know. We just put in this world and we've been indoctrinated by school. I was taught to George Washington and Jefferson this and this war, the World War II.
and
We were
Columbus.
taught those information that was poured into my head.
Mm.
Oh, George Washington never tell a lie, and he cut down the cherry tree. What the hell in Trinidad? I had to worry about George Washington who
Just
never
like
tell a lie.
cutting out the
I'm born in
territory.
Trinidad. Why are you
Mm,
teaching me about George Washington?
mm,
Why didn't you teach me about Eric Williams
mm,
or the other great leaders in Trinidad
mm,
that I should grow up with knowing and then walk their path and understand what they did and how great Eric Williams was to give us our independence in Trinidad and all that. But no, in Trinidad, in a Catholic church, Catholic school, being indoctrinated by something that's happening in America that I didn't even know America exists as a child, but you're already
mm,
indoctrinating me by the great leaders in America and all the
mm,
wars in America, but not about me, my people,
mm.
their ways, their language. If I don't know their language, I don't even know who I am. I don't even know my language.
How do you communicate?
How do I
Well,
communicate with my people if I don't even know how to speak my people language? And life is language.
Mm,
Life is language.
okay.
And I
If I
realize just how important it
mm.
is not to teach us our language because we're going to find our life once we
All right.
find our language.
Baba have something to add to our conversation. He's a
yeah,
language specialist, eh?
if
Okay.
I can contribute a little bit,
Yes.
there are several things that you've mentioned that are very important for us to discuss, right? But I want to say that we are in the process of trying to have some changes take place as far as establishing schools and designing curriculums that are based and designed for our children, right? Also, a lot of the stuff that has been taught to us concerning American history um, is hardly understood. But for me in particular, because of my background, I was involved in the Moorish Science Temple. We were taught that the cherry tree that George Washington cut down was in fact the Moorish flag,
Mm.
because the Moors were a part of the fold of the United States when it was first established. So if you were to look at the US dollar, you would see there is a obverse side and a reverse. You would see two seals on the dollar. One
Yes.
of those seals
Absolutely.
are the Moorish seal, which belong to what we call black-skinned or African people right there in America. And the other seal is the European seal with the phoenix on it. Note well, the US Congress does not use the seal with the pyramid. They use the one with the phoenix. That is
Yes.
their symbol. The one with the pyramid is our symbol. All right? So the cherry tree that was cut down was a red flag with a green star in it. That is the so-called proverbial cherry
Cherry
tree.
tree.
All right? So that's just for clarification.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit. I mean, I want to hear some more about
Yeah.
the organization that you're involved with, and I would also like to hear what made you decide either to establish, organize, be a part, or just simply to join the organization.
Okay. I want to say what you just said to me about the cherry tree. Remember, little children, little me, and the many of the thousands and millions of little me, when we were kids, didn't know that.
Mhm.
And we didn't have anyone like you to clarify that. And today, our children are lost because we don't have the truth.
Mhm.
I always stood
Agreed.
out to be
Agreed.
different from the gang, different from up here. I always pull myself away because I am a seeker of truth. And I don't want to be set in a box. Like I've been to Pentecostal church, the Baptist church, the Catholic church. I went to all of them and I could listen and I feel. So we got intuition, we could feel. We got
Okay.
knowledge. I've been to the shaman. I've been to the Buddhist. And I know who make me feel real. And I even went to the Muslim. I did Muslim too. But something in me saying there is a universal cosmic truth. Despite all these truths, there is one truth, the real
Agreed.
truth.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Agreed.
So I
But
never put myself in any box. Just like you just mentioned what the cherry tree is, but a little child, I'm thinking a real cherry tree, a man who never tell a lie. His teeth was made of what wood, and
yeah,
he is the
actually, yes,
father
he had a
of
wooden tooth.
America. That's all we were told. We didn't. I know about the Moors in France, in Paris, who built England, and then they were captured. Then they made the image of them. They turned them into monkeys with the hat, and they just don't exist anymore. They were there one time. They were great. They created language. They created art, and then they don't exist anymore. Isn't that true? What we learn? These people
Mhm.
just don't exist anymore, and they're probably
So,
still here. Aren't they still here?
all right. Well,
Yeah, they exist. They
I,
exist.
I, I am in agreement with practically all
Yeah.
that you've said,
Mhm.
but I just want to explain something to you.
Yes.
The European slave masters are very clever masters of science, even though the science they have applied and used is actually a pseudoscience. The psychology that was involved in the nursery rhymes that we were taught were
Yes.
designed just for the purpose of planting a seed. They taught us Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow, and
Yes.
everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. And then when we became adults, they told us about Jesus and Mary.
Mhm.
Yes.
And they tell you Jesus was the Lamb of the world,
Mhm.
and that
Yes.
Mary, the Blessed Virgin, was his mother, who ascended into heaven. And then Jesus himself ascended into heaven. So these were just seeds. The same thing apply with the nursery rhyme about hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jump over the moon, the little dogs laugh to see such fun, and the
Well,
dish
good
ran
one, say
away with the
about
spoon. So we think,
you
what
remember
kind
that?
of ridiculous nonsense is this about a cow jumping over a moon and
They
all of that
understand
stuff?
politics.
Well, I will
Mhm.
tell you what, that was also a seed, just like all the others about
Mhm.
the Jack and Jill and the Little King Horner. But I would just
Yes.
explain that cow and the moon jumping. Now, in Dixie language, in the southern part of the United States, a diddle is a fight.
Mhm.
Mm.
So when they say hey diddle diddle, what they're saying is, listen, I'm alarming everybody. There's a fight going on. So it has everyone's attention. Then they tell you the cat and the fiddle. The cat is the Catholics,
Mm,
and the fiddles is the infidels, who is the Moors, the
Mm.
Muslims.
mm,
So there was a fight between the Catholics and the crescent, which is the symbol of the moon. So the moon that they jumped over is the crescent.
mhm.
And the fight
Yes,
between the Catholics and the Moors, the infidels, resulted in the Catholics having victory over the Moors in America. The dogs represent the perpetual poor. So the poor people were the ones who were the part of society that was working in the colonies as slaves.
Mm.
Mhm.
And the dogs that laughed were they were glad when their former masters will overthrow the Ottoman Turks.
Mm.
And when they talk about the dish and the spoon, it explains that the society was an agrarian society, meaning they were planting primarily potatoes, which was the basic staple at the time. So that is where the dish and the spoon comes in. So all of the nursery rhymes, right? Jack be nimble,
Yes,
Jack be quick. Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a
yes,
merry old soul was he. He called for his wives, and he called for his pipe, and he called for his fiddler tree. Up to now, they still tell you the thing that the black man like is wine, woman, and song.
Right over that song.
yes,
That's the
yes.
same nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
Okay? King Cole represents a person that has a melanin, a dark complexion.
Mm.
He
Now
called for
my
his wine.
question,
He called for his pipe, intoxication. He
Mm.
likes to
yes,
get high. And he called for his fiddle. We like music.
we like music. Yes.
So that's the black man liking wine, intoxication, his pipe,
Woman and song.
his wives, women, and the fiddle, music. So all of these nursery rhymes were basically seeds that were planted in our mind. So later on, when they try to indoctrinate us further with the concepts and the ideas, the seeds has already been planted. But
Yes.
nonetheless, that is not today's show.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
no,
want you
but
to tell us.
No,
I want
but it is today's show because I told Ricky and what I did today because I'm doing the Sacred Woman. The reason I'm doing the Sacred Woman Gateway and I'm in Gateway Newt, I started today because I am looking for truth, not fantasies, not fake.
mm,
And this is the card I pulled for myself today, and it said truth.
mm,
You could make me feel good with fantasy, but I'm not into fantasy.
mm.
And I'm not into feel good. I'm into finding out truth. And you just been giving me some great truths, and I appreciate it. And
And
my granddaughter is 14 years old. She said, Grandma, if they're teaching us lies in the school, why do I have to keep going to school? And I
mm,
say that's the game they play. We have to play the game. Well, what is the answer? If my child know it's all lies and indoctrination, and they're forced to go to this and do it, what do I say as a grandmother to these children who know I'm forcing them to learn lies when I'm telling them the truth?
mm.
Isn't that happening to all our children?
And that has been the battle. But now, just a kind of thing back a little. Just as how Brother Ifa Bemiro has brought out the understanding. Remember, this is what this age is about. The Aquarian age is to know the things that we believe. Now we know why we believed it or why we should not believe it, because this is the age of knowing. And
But it's a
until we
system that's
know,
been created that we have to
right,
fit into the system that could make it legal or the
right.
Constitution of the
No,
United
no, that is
States of America, their system.
right. But that is where now, when we are aware of things, when we have to put things in place, we know why. It's not about, well, we proud to be black, so you want to have a black school. No, we know why. And we know what it is we want to teach our children, because we even know why are we educated, because we can't be educating our children to go for the same jobs in the factories. We have to be educating our children first for them to go where they have to go to bring this world to a better place. They have to go where basically we will be sustaining ourselves.
I don't think about making the world a better place. For me, it's finding the source of the problem. And the source of the problem is, why is it a fear of the black? Why is it a war, always been a war between the black and the what. What is the fear? Why are we not supposed to
Uh,
know our
what
language?
what is
Why are we
your
not supposed to know our power? Why are we not supposed to read? Why are
what
we
is
not supposed to
thing now?
understand? What is the
What's your
fear
name?
of
Your
the true black man?
all right. What you just say you are now initiating to who? Nut?
Yeah,
Nut?
Newt. Newt,
Nut.
yeah.
Nut is what?
The gateway of Newt. It's I am a sacred woman.
Uh-huh.
Into
Nut is the woman bent backward, I think it is, or with the one with
the
the
woman
belly
in the
with the
sky, the
stars.
woman in the sky,
Ah,
the protector of
okay.
the sky.
All right. Because they don't want you to find the God and goddesses in ourselves. The I am that I am. So once
But
we
it's
become
too much
awakened and
work.
find
It's
that,
too much. Look at it. It's too much effort.
mm,
Look at the effort took every race to hold down the black man. You
yeah,
got to
yeah,
look
yeah.
at it bigger, bigger. Why is it so
No.
much? You have wars. White people have wars with each other, right?
Mm.
But
Now,
they all
well,
come together. They all come together to have a war
mm,
with us.
yeah.
The
Because we
Chinese have
are
fights with each other, but the Chinese get together.
mm,
The Indians get together.
mm,
Everybody get together
mm.
to have a war with us. How powerful are we truly are that they're so scared of us?
We
That
are the
they need to
gods.
ally, that they need to
No,
get
Yeah,
in alliance.
no, well, you're,
We
yeah,
don't have
we
yeah,
are
weapons. We
well
don't have
here.
nuclear bombs.
I-
Wait, tell
I-
him.
All we have is a prayer
Iyarere,
and a hope.
Iyarere, great mother.
Uh,
Let me answer your
yeah, that's it.
question in
Yes.
just a few words. Everything in life has a source. It is an established scientific fact that you, Iyarere, great mother, are the predecessor of every human living being on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
If you understand that, there would be no question.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you understand that, there is no more questions. Now, if we are known to be first, if we are known to be the oldest on the planet, that would make us the parents of all other human
Mm-hmm.
beings. A child could never be greater than its mother. Your mother is the one who brings you to Aye.
Hmm.
Your mother is the one who teaches you every basic survival skill that you are required to use throughout the rest of your life. Not your father, your
Hmm.
mother. She teaches you what food to eat. She teaches you what is good for you to eat, what is bad for you, when you should have it, how you should have it. She teaches you what you need to do to protect yourself from the natural environment. Every living creature learns these things from their mother. There is not a great man that has ever been born on this planet that grace this earth via a woman. Every great civilization that has existed on the planet Earth with enough archaeological and historical research, it has been discovered that they belong to the ancient race of our ancestors. It does not matter if it's China, India, Europe, Asia, or
Mm-hmm.
any other part of this planet. If anyone on this planet had such a history beside us, they would be very proud. They would be in a position where they would claim superiority over others. The people who today claim superiority over others, unfortunately, does not have such a history. So they need to fabricate that type of history. And the people who genuinely such a history belongs to, they have subjugated such a people and oppressed such a people. So the ones who are telling the stories are the ones who wield the power and authority. What we are witnessing and have been witnessing since we have been spread all over the world, according to them, by slavery and other mechanisms, is white supremacy. You can
Yes.
call it education, you can call it politics, you can call it religion, you can call it whatever name you want.
It's white
At the
supremacy.
core of it is white supremacy. I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, deep down, I always knew that we are the mother. And in my interaction, in my work, and with people, and went with them, I always look at them as like, in my mind, I would say to them, I'm your mother. And I dealt with them as I'm your mother. And they actually fell in line. Men that people would fear, I never showed fear to them because I'm like, I'm the mother. And like, they actually humble themselves. And people are like, how you do that? I just naturally, I don't have that fear. So I supervised men who went to prison, who committed crimes, and my job was to bring them back into society. But I never saw them as criminals. I never saw them as lookless. I just saw them that you have an opportunity. You are a human being, and are going to deal with you as such, as a human being. And these people, and one human being came back to me in my office, all dressed in a suit and tie, and said, Miss John, I was Miss John then, you're the only person who ever made me feel as a human being. And to me, it's like, we're all human. That's natural. Why would I make you feel as something that you should know that you are? And he said, I'm a director of a funeral home now because of you. From prison to director. And it's so funny that a couple of years after that, a friend died. And I went to that funeral. And I was so sad. I felt like the world ended. I just felt like I was useless. Nothing. And this individual came to me. Are you Miss John? I said, yes. You know, you saved my life. I'm the director of this funeral home. I'm the one. You did this. As this man came back to me that I didn't even remember. So it's like when you don't know who you are, you still do things that you're supposed to do. I wasn't here many years ago. I didn't have this knowledge, but I knew it instinctively because, like you said, the divine lineage. I always carried myself a certain way. Every time I told you, my brother, every time I walk in our office, I started the receptionist desk. The next 2 days, I'm the boss. Every time I try to hide, I go in the church, wherever, I try to hide in the back, I always end up in the front, the end of the secretary. So it's why every time I try to hide, they always find me and like, no, you belong in the front. And I'm like, no, leave me alone. I want to hide. I want to hide. I don't want to be in the front. I don't want
Well,
to be in the front line.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah.
why am I fighting me? This is me. I would have never done this show before because I want to hide. I don't want the world to see me.
All right. Iya Rere, great mother.
Yes.
What I would like to share with
The
you
title.
is a little bit about our tradition. It's your
Yes.
tradition also.
Mm.
We were taught that every human being that passes through the gate of a woman and comes to this earth has a divine purpose.
Yes.
The term we use for that is destiny. Now, as long as a human being receive specific guidance from their ancestral, which comes through one's lineage, one is guided in the direction to do what came here to do. We have many systems that guides us along that path called destiny. But once one function within one's purpose, there is no greater duty that one could carry out in this life, right? And what you just testified to there is proof that some of us are here to serve specific purposes towards humanity. And it is good that despite you being unfamiliar with that aspect of our tradition, that you were able to function in that role where you were able to affect the lives of other individuals who needed that type of encouragement and that type of guidance. Because the two main objectives that we have here is one, to improve ourselves, what we refer to as Iwa Pile, which is having a balanced and a good
Good
character.
character.
It does not matter what religious belief, what system you use. It is essential for every human being to always strive towards self improvement. And the second one, which is the one I mentioned just now, is fulfilling your destiny.
Ipori.
We know, right? We normally have a roadmap that is given to us when we initiate, or even when a child is born, through a process called Isentai, where the parents is told, listen, this child you have here left Orun and agreed to come here to fulfill this particular role. As the parents of this child, you have specific obligations in growing this child up and grooming this child to fulfill that particular role. Most traditions that exist today that are having measurable success performs these rites by various names, where they would take their newborn baby to whoever their spiritual head is, whether it's a rabbi, an imam, a pundit, or whoever, and this person would do some form of divination or consult some oracle and would tell the parents who the child is or who the spirit of the child represents. We today know that this was the practice of our ancestors and it was an essential part in a series of rites that every human being must undergo as part of the unfoldment of their divinity while here on this planet called Aye. All right, I don't know if Brother Iwaliwa want to speak a little bit
Yeah.
on those aspects of Isheshe.
Oh, well, remember this, when we say we do follow religion, we deal with way of life, the principle of life. So even today I was telling people that when they say we follow the law of the land, it's not the law that the government set, but the law of Mother Nature, Mother Earth,
The natural law, you call it
and the
natural law.
natural law.
Natural
Because
law.
all the laws supposed to be in sync with the natural law. So
Yeah.
when you have laws that are not in sync with natural law, then you have problems. Because we might be trying to do it right, but when the earth decide to cave in and swallow everybody up, you can vex, right? But there are things that were set in our families and society, in which for the society, when they say the village raises the child, and these are the traditions what we supposed to now bring back into the society, where the village raises a child and not a child is raised by the parents only. Because yes, we have Esentai, which from the child, so you know the child's destiny or life path. We have rites of passage throughout puberty. We don't even do puberty. Remember, we had was to join Boy Scouts. We had
Yes.
was to do confirmation classes. They were
Yes.
taking us through their rites of passage, but we were not putting a rites of passage for our young ones.
That's true. We we
You
did
had
we
was,
stopped doing it. We
yeah,
don't do it
you
for
had was
our.
mission it at the next level where I forget what let's call it. But then you have the Boy Scouts, then you
Yeah.
have the other things. So there were rites of passages set by other communities, but we of ourselves we never maintained. But it was there because everybody followed our pattern. And this I think we're trying to get back inculcated in our society. Carry our children. We pass the age. What I don't I say that's leaving graveyard for people to know I passed through. So it's not I to try to be learning these things now, but it allow the opportunity for young ones that for them to reach here with a peaceful mind and to be indoctrinated in their history and their culture. We must put things in place for them.
Yes, that's true.
You know? This is where we have to try to get people. This is where the investment towards our community have to be towards, because they spend millions and billions to directly from our thing. So you have a when you have a celebrity portraying a male pregnant in child, and you're flashing it around the world for our young children to see, what are they going? He's a guy. Why are
Yes,
you have him dancing pregnant with a belly?
yes,
That is
yes,
not possible. Or are you
yes.
saying we should believe in all the way and then it will be possible? You understand? So they
I
even take
understand
away the
completely.
understanding of the natural laws and corrupt it.
They
I
are
don't
corrupting
care
the
about
natural laws
equals.
every single day. It's like
Yeah.
what? It's like me being an equal employment opportunity counselor for so many years.
Mm,
What was bad became good.
became good.
And I was taught
Well,
to force other people to understand and make
mm,
it good, but deep down inside, I knew it was wrong.
cause
But
yourself,
the society is turning everything. It's like we
they,
don't know what's
the,
right. We don't know what's wrong anymore because
so
it's just so like
now,
everything
so
goes.
how, so what is the best way to disconnect those that are melanated and connected to the divine essence than to alter their whole understanding as to what is the reality and the natural laws? Disrupt your culture. Once your culture
Mhm.
is disrupt, then you don't have no other culture but to follow
You
their
don't have to.
cultural principles, their way of life. And you think their way of life is normal. Get 2, 3 black brothers or sisters to portray that which is. So when Beyonce portrayed Oshun and given birth to a new life, it was not, unless only you're in the music scene, you'll watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have no sponsor want to sponsor and advertise to you understand? Because
Mm-hmm.
she's showing her motherhood.
She's showing her motherhood.
She's
Yes.
showing her godless being. I am going to make
Yes.
a man, woman in my image and likeness.
Yes.
But a young boy who don't confuse any head, pregnant, and a set of boys. I have nothing wrong with people's sexual preferences, but once it's not natural in law,
They
it
were
is not
violating the
natural in
natural
law.
law.
I'm not going against you. That is not natural in law,
Yes.
right?
Baba, excuse me. We have
Uh-huh.
7 more minutes.
7 minutes,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
and this, because this is what, to come to the level of ascension, we have strived and we struggled to reach here. If you look at your life history, you struggled to reach here. You
Yes, I
didn't
did.
just was moved into that nice consciousness and say, oh wow, what a beautiful space this is in.
It
My
was
third eye is open. Hmm?
no, it was like riding the bike. I had
Right?
to go into many religions, many practice, many
And you
things
got
in and
knuckle
out
here.
and in and out. I
Uh-huh.
have been baptized. I've been blessed. The Hindu man blessed me. The
Right?
everybody has blessed me. So that, and I felt like the book of Aquarius where Jesus went to all these different gateways. On
Mm-hmm.
not many people read that book, but Jesus didn't just disappear for 33
He didn't
years.
just say, no,
He
he
been
went through
through
the
many
trial.
gateways. He
He
been through
had was the
temptation.
go
He
through the
met, he
trials.
went to different cultures, and
Mm.
he got the same. So I did the same thing. I always read the Bible. So what would Jesus do versus the
Mm.
rest of the Bible? That's people history. But what would he
Uh,
do? So I know that I went through. I went through the fire,
but so here
and my
what is
life
the
wasn't
mission?
easy. But I
Right?
went through. But I
But
kept my
be,
head, and I kept the faith
Uh,
but
that
be,
what
be,
Jesus did, I could do. So when the
mm.
Hindu man smoked my feet and he blessed me, when the shaman took his feather and he purified me, when the Kundalini lady, you saw, I've been blessed and I've been taught and I've been embraced by every tribe, from Egyptian to Russian, because
Right.
I know I'm everything. I
Right.
am everything because everything is
Everything.
me. So I have to
Let,
accept
let,
everything and
let me have Baba.
everything. So I learned from them. I absorb. What I did was like I was the absorber. I'm taking it back. What
Right.
was
yeah,
stole from me, I am taking back. Give me back my culture. Give me back my energy. Give it back to me so I
no,
can become whole again.
All
yes.
right. Let
I
me have
just I
Baba.
just wanted to make one
Yes.
plug-in before this is probably gonna be my last contribution because we don't
Yes.
have a lot of time. Um, when I was in the Science Temple, the Moorish Science Temple of America, I discovered they have something called a Circle 7 Quran. in this Circle 7 Quran is the life of the so-called prophet Jesus.
Mm.
And in that book told you everywhere he went, what he did when he was in India, when he was
Mm-hmm.
in Egypt, when he was in Greece, and when he traveled the entire world. And
Yes.
I want to believe this particular book may have been specifically left out of the Bible because
Yeah.
what it shows you is that he was a normal, natural human being who went
Yeah.
through all the stages of evolution, and it shows his humanity.
Mm.
And it also would show those who wish to follow him the path that they need to take. And the path is just what you just described, dear mother. It
Mm.
is,
Yeah.
in fact, the path of enlightenment, where you have to visit all the great centers of learning,
Yes.
all the systems of learning, and eventually it would lead you to enlightenment and realization.
Mm.
All right, that is my last contribution.
This
And that's
education.
exactly what I
Mm.
believe. Thank you for breaking it down.
All
Thank
right.
you so eloquently. Thank you.
So this is where we in our ascension, because now that you are enlightened, I said, now what? I said, now what? I
Oh,
reach there.
now
Now what?
this is what's now
Uh,
what right now.
uh,
Last night
uh,
I have
we
grandkids.
starting journey.
I have these kids to come. I have descendants.
Mm,
Last night I had my daughter and her four daughters sat in a room and we reveal all the truth, what happened to us. No more
mm,
secrets. No more.
mm.
And I have other women in
Uh,
them. No more secrets. We
uh,
let it all out and we healing.
mm.
No more shame. No more guilt. No more hiding. The
And
truth.
this and
The
this this
truth.
this is what they talk about in evolution
My
and
10-year-old
ascension.
could read this card and she could tell you everything
Mm,
because she knows she has power. I told her she has power. And I let her read for me, and she read for me so powerfully.
mm.
But I'm giving her power to know that she could trust herself to be spiritually in tune.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, yeah,
And you don't have to hide.
we too do have a divination oracular system that is the
Yes.
oldest system probably in the universe. It is called Ifa.
Ifa, yes, the highest
You're
school.
right.
Yes.
Mm,
So even the tarot that came from Kemet, which is what you were just displaying there, is a very similar auricular system because much of what we learn for our cosmology is very similar to that which is used by the Kemetic system also.
mm. All right.
So
All
it
right.
just comes to me naturally. It just comes to me. So me, like you said, I'm walking in the divine. I
Yep.
follow the path of everyone
Exactly.
else. Then I step away and I say, let me follow the path of the great I am. And
Definitely.
receive, listen, hear, and
Well,
receive and put it out.
we have to say Ashe to that because
Ashe.
the reality is you said that you went and you studied all the systems of everybody else. But you know the reality is all these systems, we were the one who designed them for
They really come
everyone
back
else
home.
because
Yes,
we
I
are
got to
their
come back
parents.
home. Yes.
So that thread that we would normally take is a journey through all that we have broken and given to others in order to lead us back to our very own selves.
Right here. Right
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Exactly. All right. So, well, we have one minute. So, Ella, would like to thank you. Hope we'll do this again. No,
Yes.
no doubt about it. But in
Yes.
terms of people, all that you speak about is what the whole essence of the ascension and this Aquarian age or the fifth dimension is about. The universe is speaking to us. All it asks is that we listen. Go
Yes.
outside and sit down on a chair and just listen to the universe. Go and sit
Yes.
down by the beach. Ask a question, just listen. Let the universe tell you what you need to do. Sit down on a tree, brace the tree. Ask the universe what it is you have to do to find your balance, find your pathway to your ascension. Because it's too long we seeking the guidance of a man, woman, or individual who's trying to find their own guidance. They try to find their self, and you are asking them to guide you, so they could only take you where they need to go, but is it where
Yes.
you have to go? So the challenge is, let me find ourselves, and in that, build our home temple first, build our family house of worship. Let our 12 tribes or 13 tribes or 15 tribes come out from our home to go out into the world to become a great nation. Because if we don't have our God solidified within our family, we'll always be shattered in, and everybody's still trying to start over to find the God of their fathers and the fathers' fathers, and they only borrowing cousins' gods.
But the greatest find, this is my last statement, the greatest find is finding me. I'm a masterpiece.
They say, Ori me,
The
God.
God, the masterpiece. You know how hard it is to put this masterpiece together and to find out what it means and what it is and what is. People don't understand the masterpiece, and the problem to solve is right here. When you solve this one, who am I? And you can say I am, and answer that question after I am that I am. That's why we're so lost. No, because I came into this world as newborn, and somebody gave me a name. Somebody gave me everything and tell me, oh, you are this, and go into the world. And then somebody came and hit you, and then you said, oh, and hurt you and do this, and then you start creating this reality for what they said. So you had to clean all that up and come right back to find out, why was I here in the first place? Who am I?
You are
Before
that you are.
all the other distractions. So that's what it is. Now I'm coming right back. That's why I'm in Gateway News. I never knew me. I never knew my womb. I never knew my face. I knew the face on the image on the magazine that I want to look like.
Yeah, what to look like.
But I never knew looking like, this is me. This is my face. It's okay.
And we just say, yo, Ricky,
Ori.
what is
And you
your
just said
song?
it's Ori.
Yeah.
Ori, the head. The head of the temple. The eyes that see.
And this is where it is in terms of finding self. As you say, Ifa Orisa community conversations and discussions is about expressing ourselves and finding clarity into what we believe, what we know.
That
So we
I am
thank people,
Orisa.
and we hope next week, guys, we ask people to subscribe, like, share, and people check the date, check the time, look up on the Green Network, jump in. So if you want to ask questions and whatnot in this season 2, we open and we trying to fix a line where people could call in, and that we could have a wider communications in Ifa Orisa traditional community discussions. With Awo Iwalewa, the legend, or as you know as Baba Mello, we out and having a good time. Bless all. Thank you, sister.
Blessing.
Thank you,
brother. Thank you for being with us here. And
Thank you for
hopefully
receiving me.
we would have you on sometime in the future again.
Thank you.
And with
Thank
that,
you
we
very
would like
much.
to say Odabo.
Thank you.
Odabo. All right. So